Hello, I'm Ayodeji Makinde, and this is Nationwide. Today, we're bringing you the latest developments across the country. From politics to security and the economy, we've got the stories that matter most to you. So, let's get into the news. The government of Japan is promising to reinforce partnership with the African countries with about $5.5 billion investment to tackle economic challenges and development on the continent. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba made a commitment at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, which opened in Yokohama. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports that President Bola Tinubu expresses Nigeria's readiness to be one of Africa's representatives in the United Nations Security Council permanent seats category.
President Bola Tinubu at the Yokohama International Conference Center for the 2025 ticket, his first appearance on this platform of partnership. Japan, with support from the UN, World Bank and the African Development Bank, is expressing readiness to take partnership with Africa higher. As agreed here, such partnership has yielded some growth in Africa in the last 32 years. But then, challenges in the education, health, and energy sectors, as well as infrastructural deficits and insecurity, remain in parts of the continent.
Tackling this crisis requires a clear focus not only on development for Africa, but on development with Africa. And I salute Japan for making this the focus of its cooperation with the continent.
Yet, African leaders believe in the reliability of collaboration with Japan toward the attainment of the African Agenda 2063 and its developmental efforts, which were slowed down by the COVID-19 experience.
We will be able to utilize SDGs as well as Agenda 2063 as a major driving force to solve African challenges. The probability to achieve these goals would depend on interdependency between countries. We are living in interdependency, and we have no option than multilateralism. When we acknowledge that fact, the probability of success will further be elevated.
Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba assures of more action to the Japanese government's promises to walk the distance along with African countries towards finding innovative solutions to challenges facing the continent, including women and youth capacity building, industrialization, and promotion of peace and security.
Now we are entering an era when solutions originating from Africa will save the international community, including Japan. Japan wishes to remain a reliable partner that works together, a trusted partner with Africa, providing solutions to one another. As proof of Japan's commitment to action, we would definitely put into action what we have promised.
President Bola Tinubu reported on Nigeria's success in the war against terrorism and insecurity, and while conversing Japan's support for Africa to intensify advocacy for UN Security Council reform, the Nigerian leader says his country is ready to serve as one of the continent's representatives in the Council's permanent seats category. In Yokohama, Musbao Danwahab, NT News.
Beyond donor funds, the federal government is deploying resources to fight poverty through the provision of basic services, particularly in rural communities. To ensure delivery on targets, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation is enforcing coordination among stakeholders to reduce duplication of efforts. Benny Adams reports that this is coming from the need to address financial management issues of federal projects funded by donor agencies and the National Treasury, where the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, alongside partners, say every penny must be accounted for and its benefits felt by Nigerians.
Various facets that these projects are seeking to address. Every project we have currently ongoing about 50 projects. Each of those projects is addressing a particular area, from agriculture to education to healthcare, name it. Every aspect, is addressed. And there are specific projects with project objectives, So if you do not handle the financial aspect very well, then you may have failures here and there.
With more coordination, any naira invested will yield more results. So I think the emphasis is on more coordination. Yes, donor funds are now depleting, but we are very hopeful. But the National Assembly will step up and appropriate using national resources to provide for alleviating poverty at the grassroots level.
More than 50 ongoing projects are being supervised by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, while the World Bank portfolio in Nigeria alone is worth $18.2 billion. The Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation has held a one-day sensitization to showcase the achievements of President Bola Tinubu's administration in Port Harcourt. Emmanuel Lene reports that the midterm report provided an opportunity to appraise the benefits of the programs in the region and how to key into it.
The administration of President Bola Tinubu over the last 2 years has been making frantic efforts to addressing the challenges facing the country. This sensitization program is to showcase some of these programs which are viewed to enabling the public benefit.
Sensitization program meant to detail the 2 years administration of President Tinubu, and just to ensure that people are aware of the programs formulated by the federal government.
To encourage people, so many programs, the 3MTT, which is the 3 million technical talents, there are tech programs our youth can actually hatch on and better their lives.
For those who applied and we are giving, they're actually enjoying it because it's a loan without interest.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFRO, approved a sum of $32 million so that the states of the Niger Delta can benefit from this project.
To some naysayers, this sensitization program is an eye-opener to the many achievements of President Tinubu's administration. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
In the meantime, key players in Benue State have lauded the present administration for the delivery of people-oriented initiatives, which is in line with the renewed hope agenda. This was during President Tinubu's mid-term report and sensitization campaign organized by the Minister of Information and National Orientation in Makurdi, the Benue State capital.
The sensitization campaign by the Ministry of Information is to showcase the incumbent administration scorecard and midterm reports of achievement so far and feedbacks in areas of needs.
I want to appreciate him for one good thing he did. The federal government did. Area of out-of-school children and emerging. That exercise is ongoing in Nigeria now.
For the first time that the city government has addressed the issue of insecurity in Benue, and there is a bit of respite.
This is not just a report. It is a demonstration of transparency, accountability, and the governor's unwavering commitment to the Nigerian people.
In Makurdi, Moses Ajao Udi, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the quality of federal government's intervention programs, projects and initiatives in the last 2 years are clear indication that Nigeria under the stewardship of President Bola Tinubu is on the right track to economic revitalization. This was the view of speakers at a one-day sensitization campaign on Bola Tinubu's milestone organized by the Federal Information Center, Benin City. Jude Abugu tells us more.
Nelson
The Presidential CNG Initiative, NDDC Youth Internship Scheme, and Nigeria Consumer Credit Scheme are some interventions of the present administration. These and other federal government projects in Edo State.
IDICE is an initiative of the federal government executed by the Bank of Industry to promote investment in technology and creative ecosystem. So it is targeted at Nigerian youth between 15 to 35 years to increase their employability, foster innovation, and support the emergence of more entrepreneurs.
This sensitization campaign is part of our continuous effort to bridge the information gap between the government and the government.
This government is youth friendly. They have a lot of incentives that will help youth to make them a better citizen.
Participants are expected to help the ministry in publicizing the president's milestone in the past 2 years. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
Away from the midterm assessment on the Bola Tinubu administration, let's also tell you that the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has ordered that all mobile phones must be completely switched off during flights on Nigeria Airlines. The Director General NCAA, Chris Najomo, stated this during an emergency meeting of the National Civil Aviation Security Committee in Abuja. Correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
At an emergency stakeholders meeting in Abuja, NCAA Director General Captain Chris Najomo announced that the era of airplane mode is over. All devices must now be completely switched off, particularly during takeoff and landing. He warned that deliberate sabotage, protocol breaches, and unruly passenger behavior remain serious threats to aviation security.
Today's engagement is therefore going to address different aspects of the ecosystem: the regulator, airline security, airspace security, airport security, and of course, the traveling public, who do not only have rights, but have responsibilities.
The NCAA boss disclosed that mock security response exercise will soon be conducted in Lagos and Abuja to test preparedness, while security personnel and law enforcement will undergo training with stricter enforcement measures. NCAA Director of Consumer Protection and Public Affairs, Michael Achimugu, emphasized the need for airport security to step up enforcement.
But contrary to media reports in these cases, unruly passenger behavior is not on the rise in Nigeria. Unruly passenger behavior has always been with us, not just in Nigeria. It's a global phenomenon as well. The only reason perhaps why this has happened in this way is because opportunity has met with the moment.
Stakeholders from airline operators, critical security agencies, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAN), Nigerian Airspace Management Agency (NAMA), and National Assembly members reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening efforts towards ensuring safe and secure air travel in Nigeria. In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
The federal government is making strategic move to empower the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, with the tools and support required to spearhead its mandate of creating millions of jobs for unemployed and unskilled in the country. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Muhammad Maigari Dingyadi, stated this during an inspection of ongoing work at the new NDE headquarters in Abuja, which is expected to be completed by the end of the year. Joseph Otsen reports.
An edifice designed to accommodate huge responsibility. That's bridging the unemployment gap in Nigeria. The 7-floor story building was awarded in 2023. Now the two ministers of Labour are here to assess the progress made so far, with completion in sight and strong desire to move NDE headquarters to its befitting home. 3 out of the 7 floors are completed and ready for use.
So I am satisfied with what I have seen, and so far so good. I do hope that the NDE will try to move in as quickly as possible.
At least you had 90% of all your equipment as far back as
last 2 years, and then it has taken 2 years to put this in place. I know that their problem is paucity of funds, and I know that we're going to work hard to plead with the authorities that funds shall be released.
There are a lot of structural adjustment to the edifice, but certainly it will take the entire staff of NDE. All the staff that we have in the headquarters will be adequately accommodated here. We will have enough to support our ministry, especially the two ministers.
NDE has been operating on a rented apartment for over 30 years. The management says occupation of the 3 completed floors will commence by next week, while construction of others continue. In Abuja, Joseph Hudson, NTA News.
Nigeria's national broadcaster and Africa's largest television network, the NTA, is positioning to create deep connections with viewers and audiences around the world. It is currently undergoing critical facility upgrade with a target to improve content quality, news and programs impact, as well as expand its reach and reliability. Correspondent Namdi Odipo tells us more.
These days, television is all about integrated feeds, real-time data and advanced technology, all morphing to evolve quality content that meets audiences' expectations. Modernization is therefore key, and NTA realizes it must move beyond continued reliance on obsolete technology. But integrating new technologies into an already existing framework and doing so almost seamlessly while maintaining 24/7 broadcast requires near military precision. And that is what the NTA is doing with its latest upgrade in broadcast facilities. It has invested in a fleet of state-of-the-art digital HD SDI broadcast equipment, most of which have been rolled out and dispatched to its stations across the country. And what we see now are transformations of dim analog control rooms and studios into vibrant, fully digitized production hubs. In many cases, brand new iPad digital transmitters were acquired and dispatched to some state stations in a bid to push NTA's signal further and clearer than ever before.
This equipment that we receive are highly definition equipment that have improved the quality of our signal, and it's an investment worthwhile.
And for sure, the quality of what that will be coming out of our studios now will really be greater, brighter, crisp picture to our viewers at home.
The target is not only to replace crumbling equipment, but to upgrade to modern, energy-efficient digital units. Already, early signs from NTA's zonal centers are promising. The quality of the signals and broadcasts from the zones that have been upgraded are turning viewers accustomed to the old NTA. And to guarantee broadcasts stay on air, come rain or shine, grid or no grid, massive solar power plants like the 60 kVA systems in Enugu have been set up to ensure power reliability.
With that, we have tackled the issue of power outage.
We received 3 JVC cameras. We received 2 55-inch monitors, tripods, an editing system that is called Think Station, LED lights, vision and audio mixers, and other accessories that are very, very useful.
The equipment will no doubt enhance our output, our productions, and give us more leverage.
So far, nearly 5 billion naira worth of investment have gone into this round of upgrade, and for NTA as the national broadcaster, that speaks to deeper issues beyond just ratings. For NTA, the imperatives are clear. To survive the times and competitive arena of media convergence, it must continue to balance its monumental legacy with an uncompromising digital future. In Abuja, Namdi Odipo, NTA News.
Now, what many refer as wastes, others see as wealth. In Osun State, that idea, well, is gaining momentum as a special training brings young people together to explore how plastic solutions can be turned into opportunities through a circular economy and waste-to-wealth initiative. Correspondent Kayode Oladoshu gives us more insight.
With over 70% of Nigeria's waste, especially plastic bottles, being mismanaged, the resulting pollution contributes to soil degradation, water contamination, and air pollution. Osun State government is changing the narrative through a practical training on circular economy and waste-to-wealth management for youths and women in the state.
There is no more waste unless we waste it. So it is a way of taking back as a resource for companies who are in need of it.
As long as the government is coming up with climate change actions with respect to mitigation and adaptation, it is a form of intervention on the part of government to make sure that we have a livable society.
During the theoretical aspect of the training, participants applauded the state government for its efforts towards job creation through waste management.
I see it as actually an avenue for me to intensify effort and continue to do something around circular economy and recycling.
It is the government that gave us this land where we are operating, so it is also the government that gave us the enabling environment.
With these initiatives on circular economy and waste to wealth, it is hoped to reduce plastic waste pollution and generate employment opportunities for the youths and women in Osun State. Kayode Oladoshu, NTA News.
All right. Yes. Now let's feel more details from Kayode Oladoshu in Osogbo. Will be telling us on how this initiative tie closely into the broader climate action and environmental goals in Osun State.
Thank you, Ayodeji. The tons of plastic waste annually, with a significant portion ending in waterways and landfills, has been the concern of Osun State government regarding the environmental hazard this waste is causing to the environment. I have here with me a waste and renewable energy expert, Professor Chinwe Obeaku, to talk more on waste to wealth initiative by Osun State government. Madam, how realistic is this project?
The waste to wealth initiative is three-pronged. It has a three-pronged goal: economics, health, and the environment. What does that mean? We want people to make money whilst keeping the environment clean of pollutants and also increasing life expectancy. The goal is for people to sort and earn. Get to draft families into it, and the youth, women, the most vulnerable population, and to make it sustainable in form of in a way to enable us to eradicate pollutants and improve life expectancy.
How realistic is this project?
It is realistic because it is driven by people at the grassroots. We are locking in neighborhoods. We are creating MROs who would serve as middlemen. People from to uptake, and then the plastics they have picked will end up with recyclers. So it is quite realistic to the extent that it is being managed by communities and people at the grassroots, the most vulnerable, and to the extent that those are the people who are not actually left out.
Thank you very much. Ayodeji will agree with me that Osun State is stepping in its game in order for our environment to have plastic free of pollution. I'm handing over to you for more of Nationwide.
Thank you so much for that update. It's really interesting to know that many people are now keying into the Waste to Wealth initiative to create more opportunities. From Osogbo, let's go over to our Lagos Network Center, where Awal will give us the latest news from the Center of Excellence.
Lagos. The Investment and Securities Act enacted in March this year has been described as a significant milestone in repositioning the nation's capital market to align with global best practices. Experts say the laws and application of this act need to be understood by operators in the financial money market. Ime Udori's report is here presented.
The Investments and Securities Act 2025, which comes into effect after 18 years of the repealed Act of 2007, is a revised statutory framework for capital market regulation. This development, according to many, especially those in the financial market ecosystem, is a timely legislative update that will expound the boundaries of regulatory oversight, while compliance with the ISA 2025, experts believe will redefine the financial market integrity in an era of digital and virtual assets.
If we are looking at a lot of things, whether it is the money market, whether it is the capital market, we have full-fledged entrenchment of enterprise risk management implementation. The society will be better from the financial world.
Strengthening and protecting investors' interest, transparency, disclosure, and enforcement is also important.
For the EFCC, these reforms are not abstract. They give us a clearer, stronger basis to investigate, prevent, and prosecute market-related financial crimes, from insider trading and market manipulation to cross-border fraud and illicit fund flows.
The infiltration of illicit funds, particularly proceeds from drug trafficking, into legitimate business is one of the most under-recognized risks facing corporate Nigeria today.
Key players in the sector say it is a call to action to ensure that opportunities of the ISA reset standards, manage risks, and build investors' trust in the system for sustainable growth.
From finance, we shift attention to aviation. Safety is a major priority in the aviation industry. Air safety ranges from flight crew training, aircraft maintenance, pre-flight safety checks to air traffic control, among others. In this report, Hingino John Adams takes a look at aviation standards, safety procedures, and the role of relevant authorities in managing crisis.
Observing aviation standard safety procedures promotes a country's global reputation and passenger confidence, which has direct impact on economic growth. Pre-flight checks, in-flight safety, passenger safety briefings, among others, are crucial for establishing and maintaining high level of safety.
Phones emit radio frequencies, and they emit electromagnetic interference, and those could interfere with the communication systems of the plane.
Recently, the cases between some individuals and airlines dominated Nigeria's discourse space with various opinions, most of which are pointing towards safety.
Professionalism must never be compromised, no matter what, and no matter who is involved. If you consider what is at stake, lives of people, the aircraft, I would want to say that decisiveness cannot be compromised.
Industry experts are advocating adherence to safety rules by passengers, cabin crew members, and other concerned staff.
When a passenger refuses to obey those rules, if it's before takeoff, the pilot is expected to call in security after they have used all powers of persuasion to calm the passenger. The passenger has to be deboarded, escorted off the plane.
Experts believe as airline operators work towards achieving safer skies, they should prioritize regulatory requirements as well as fundamental operations. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Jos after the break. Do stay.
Lovely meals you can cook with these.
Come to Jos. Plateau Gender and Equal Opportunity Commission is expressing concern over rising cases of child trafficking, urging stakeholders to work towards stemming the tide. This was at a sensitization of stakeholders in Jos. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
Gender equality is a fundamental human right and a key driver of social and economic development. Plateau State established the Gender and Equal Opportunities Commission to address gender disparities and persuade equal opportunities for all individuals. These stakeholders are here to brainstorm on possible solutions to sexual and gender-based violence as well as child trafficking in the state.
Religious leaders, we equally have to be part of this crusade.
Protecting human rights, especially the children and the vulnerable in Plateau State, is a business of all.
We have a responsibility
as religious leaders and also women fellowship to be more attentive to our children.
The program underscored the critical role they play in shaping values, influencing behavior, and mobilizing communities to combat gender-based violence. For the Commission, the menace of sexual and gender-based violence, alongside the rising cases of child trafficking, require a united voice and the moral authority of religious leaders to drive meaningful change.
We believe that with them, working in collaboration with them, they will be able to drum out a lot of these messages on the need for us to be on the same page, protecting the rights of the people of Plateau State.
Participants engaged in interactive session which focused on prevention, victim protection, and the need for faith-based advocacy to end the scourge. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Genetic counseling and premarital tests are key in mitigating the spread of sickle cell anemia. Consultant pediatrician at the Jos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Akinyemi Ofakum Rim, stated this at an awareness in Jos. Ijoma Ozomina has more.
With focus on preventive measures, early diagnosis, and the need to eliminate stigma associated with sickle cell disorder, the event brought together key stakeholders, including community leaders, religious heads, youth representatives, and women leaders.
When we get back home, we are going to sensitize our people at home and tell them the real problems that really cause the sickle cell anemia, as it has been discussed.
Definitely started orienting, calling groups of the youth, enlightening them about the dangers of sickle cell disease.
Guest speaker emphasized the importance of genetic counseling and premarital tests to mitigate the spread of sickle cell anemia. He stressed that awareness remains the most effective tool in combating the disease.
And the main aim is for us to be able to reduce the burden, that's the incidence, the occurrence of sickle cell disease. So, and also to make sure that those that are already affected are properly taken care of.
Director of Primary Health Care highlighted the severe health, emotional, and financial burden that comes with managing sickle cell, calling on participants to spread the message in their respective communities to prevent avoidable cases.
Doing this, if we can chip in educating our young ones, I think it will go a long way.
Participants expressed appreciation to youth for the initiative, pledging to step down knowledge gained in their respective localities. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
That is our contribution from Jos. It's back to Ayodeji for the continuation of Nationwide in Abuja.
Thank you for your contributions. There must be deliberate and decisive action to value and recognize every language and learner background as a source of knowledge and inspiration for education to become inclusive, relevant, and socially just in Nigeria. This is coming from an educationist and a professor of linguistics of Faculty of Arts, National Open University of Nigeria, Christian Iyetunde Ofoluwe, speaking on reclaiming marginalized voices, intersections of diversity and educational spaces at the university's 35th inaugural lecture. Professor Ofoluwe asserted that no language is less important than the other. She said the dominance of English language is informal education weakens many indigenous languages in the country, and to shape and transmit knowledge, preserve identity, and foster inclusiveness in the communities.
As institutions, networks, communities to shed colonial mindsets and to advance a new era of reclaiming our own voices and narratives. Only then will our languages, our learners, our educators, our educational systems take their rightful place at the center of Nigeria's story of equity, dignity, and progress.
You say all languages, then they equal. But you can't say some language, if you're not careful, then we'll go into extinction. Say language, now they tell us who we are. Say until the lions begin write their own story, the story where the hunter they write, it correct.
The lecturer believes that educational spaces provide the arena where barriers and opportunities are most visible. Nigerian soldiers need the support of their spouses, immediate family and community to cope with the physical and psychological effects of war and security operations. Coordinator National Defense College Officers' Wives Association, NCOA, Isabella Okosun, stated this in Abuja during a seminar to sensitize Army officers' wives on how to manage traumatic stress disorders. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Apart from the First and Second World War, the Nigerian Armed Forces personnel have participated in different internal security operations. These experiences most times pose significant physical and mental challenges to serving military officers, soldiers, veterans, and sometimes their family members. These challenges include depression, anxiety, phobia, while their spouses face emotional battles.
At all other security agencies, they can only function maximally only if their backbone, which is their family, their wives and kids, are in a state of absolute mental and physical health.
This seminar is seeking solutions for members of the families of soldiers faced with this dilemma.
The seminar, therefore, was born out of a need to discuss military families and mental health, as well as possible ways of mitigation.
Counseling and seeking professional guidance are helpful ways of improving the mental health of families of military officers. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
In a related development, the Nigeria Air Force has reiterated its commitments to strengthening strategic defense cooperation with the Czech Republic. This is as part of ongoing efforts to advance national security and regional stability. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, made the commitment while receiving the Junior Deputy Minister of Defense of the Czech Republic, Radka Kondalova, and her delegation at the NAF headquarters in Abuja. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehimen Edojame, indicates that the visit was a fallout of the long-standing friendship between both nations and their shared commitments to peace, stability and advancement of aerospace and defense capabilities. The Czech Republic Junior Deputy Minister of Defense also reaffirmed our country's readiness to broaden defense cooperation with Nigeria, stating that air defense is the backbone of national security and Nigeria is one of the biggest partners of the Czech Republic. Looking to the future, both parties identified key areas of collaboration, including logistics and sustaining support for the NAF fleet overall, acquisition of MI-series helicopters, capacity building for aircraft technicians, as well as advancements in aerospace engineering. Let's join Asmau in the seat of the Caliphate for the next set of reports on Nationwide.
Ayodeji, a warm welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. 3 bodies have so far been recovered in the ongoing search and rescue operations 4 days after the canoe accident in Kojio village of Gorenyo local government area of Sokoto State. Abdullahi Umar Ilelu reports.
The sad event involving over 50 passengers, motorcycles and farm produce threw the entire community into an atmosphere of confusion and mourning. With the ongoing search and rescue efforts by officials of the National Inland Waterways Authority and the National Emergency Management Agency supported by the local divers, the families of the victims are anxiously awaiting news of the recovery of more of their missing loved ones.
We were there, we pray for the deaths of the late people and we condole the families. Then we come back to the water side in order to do sensitization for them how every boat operator must operate with life jacket, and most passengers or all the passengers should make sure that they wear life jacket before crossing the river bank.
Definitely the search and rescue is being called up, but the local divers will continue. Already information has been sent downstream up to Argungu and Dikku in Kebbi State. If they see any floating body, they should help us in retrieving it and then alert the nearest station.
The 3 recovered bodies have since been laid to rest in accordance with Islamic rites. To ensure safety and for story occurrence of such incidents, 15 life jackets were distributed to the community by the National Inland Waterways Authority. In Sokoto, Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Ayodeji in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thanks, Asmau. Time now for sports updates.
The youth wing of the All Progressives Congress, APC, on Tuesday hosted an evening with Shehu Diko to engage young Nigerians on the developments in the sports sector. Shehu Diko, chairman of the National Sports Commission, shared his journey in sports and outlined the Commission's Renewed Hope initiative focused on reset, refocus, and relaunch.
We have to be intentional and deliberate about it. Whatever we are doing, is it legislation? Is it the actions we are taking? Is it providing the enablers for both the private sector and the public sector to work together to deliver sport? We have to be intentional and deliberate about it and work out everything we do the right way.
For some time now, the once vibrant and lush green IBB Golf and Country Club, Abuja, has not been in use following protracted crisis over the leadership of the club. Concerned golf reporters have therefore appealed to the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to reopen the golf club for good of the sport and the community. Meanwhile, sports and education have been described as crucial components for national development. This was the focal point of a thought-provoking lecture by former Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Solomon Dalong, during a memorial lecture in honor of Professor Emmanuel Ojeme in Benin City, Edo State. The late Professor Ojeme is being remembered for his mentorship and inspiration to future generations of professionals and academics.
In sports circles, he was revered for his hybrid application of theories of practice.
He has tried to build a nation with a wholesome labor force when it comes to education, when it comes to health, personal development.
This man believed that, see, in case if along the line you retire from sport, what will you fall back on? And that's why the education comes in.
Well, before we go, let's tell you that in the next few hours, Nigeria's D-Tigers will be taking on Senegal in the quarter-final of the FIBA Afro-Basket in Angola. That's Nationwide. I'm Ayodeji Makinde on behalf of the entire production crew. Good evening.